This is the masking department. So what's masking, you ask? That's a good question. Masking is the process of protecting certain areas of the metal parts from receiving the treatments and processes that the rest of the part will be going through. And there are many different styles of masking and different kinds of masking materials, such as plugs, seal and peel, stop-off lacquer, and many different varieties of masking tape. Now, let's start with the plugs. Plugs are used for exactly what they sound like. They're used to plug holes and prevent the parts from being coated in specific places by any of the processes that the part is going to go through. These plugs come in plastic and rubber. Each one of these is used for different processes. Check the work instructions in order to know which one can be used for which process. Let's move on to seal and peel. Seal and peel is a process in which parts are dipped into a superheated substance that coats the part and protects it when going through its predetermined processes. Liquid masking is a process where a specific liquid is used to be painted onto, or the part can be dipped into the liquid and upon drying protects the part from receiving any processing. This keeps certain areas of the part from receiving processing and also from allowing liquid to seep underneath the seal and peel during certain processes. And then there is masking tape, which is where a specific tape is used to mask off and protect specific areas of the part from processing. Each one of these masking procedures are used for specific reasons, and each of them have their own benefits. Some of them are specifically requested by the customer, and the rest are determined by the level 2 and 3 masking employees. If you have any questions about how to mask a certain part, refer to your masking cards and instructions. Now, does all this make sense so far? Good. When a part is first submitted to Metal Finishing Company for processing, a blueprint is presented to a level 2, and he determines the best way to mask each individual part. He gets approval from the customer and then creates a masking card which can be found in the system. A level 2 will then create an example of how this should be done, and then it is up to the level 1 maskers to carry out the noble duty of making sure the parts are masked properly. What's a level 1 masker? Well, we do have our work cut out for us. Here, let me show you. Here's a little chart that breaks down the masking levels and what they are responsible for. Don't worry, it's not as complicated as it looks, and you will pick up on it very easily. Now that you know what role you will play, let's discuss how to process incoming orders. Now, when an order comes in, it is processed in order of due dates and expedite status. An expedite status is when an order is put on high alert and needs to be processed immediately. Ho, here comes one now. We need to get this process stat. When beginning the process of masking, first an order must be taken to the masking station with the purchase order or PO and the blueprint of how the masking should be done. If a masking card was not included with the PO, the blueprints can be found in the engineering folder on the computer under its appropriate part number. If one does not exist, we need to create one. Please take the part to your supervisor so that he can have one created to be placed in our system. Also, an example of how the part should be masked will also be provided by a level 2, and then you can begin your work. Okay, now you're ready to begin. Oh, whoa. Aren't you forgetting something? Here, put these on. White gloves need to be worn at all times when handling parts. Your hands may look clean to you, but they have oils and dirt on them that cannot be seen with the naked eye. This oil and dirt will affect the part and the finish. that comes out on the other end. For that reason, clean white gloves must be worn at all times while handling the parts. Okay, now that you have your white gloves on, you can now begin. The masking instructions lay out exactly how a part should look when you are done with them. It's important to note how the part is wrapped and try your best to break it down and duplicate as best as possible. These instructions are very specific and are laid out and approved beforehand by the customer, and so it is very important to duplicate them as best as possible. Look, you little genius, you. You already have it figured out. What are you waiting for? Let's get to work. It is extremely important to read the instructions carefully and make sure you have the right kind of masking tape for the job. Wait, you say? There's more than one kind of masking tape? Of course. In fact, there's way more than you would think. Here are just a few examples of the kinds of masking tape that we have to use on a daily basis. There are other kinds of masking materials as well that do not require masking tape. This particular one is called seal and peel. You simply take the part and dip it into the pot and pull it out. It's as simple as that. But don't forget to wear protective gloves for this process, because that pot runs at around 400 degrees. So seriously, guys, when doing seal and peel, wear protective gloves. 400 degrees is hot. Real hot. So you might be wondering, why do this process over taping? Well, that's because there are some processes that tape is just not strong enough to last through. So after dipping the part, set it aside to dry for 20 minutes or until completely dry, and then flip it over and dip the other side if it requires it, and set it aside to dry as well. Once it is dry, you can now take it back to the workbench to cut away the excess masking material and expose the area that is supposed to receive the processing. It's important to note that for some processes, you will need to paint the part with a liquid masking material on the area of the part that will not receive processing before dipping it into the seal and peel. This prevents any liquids that the part will be dipped into from getting underneath of the seal and peel masking material. Masking is one of the more meticulous jobs here at metal finishing, where even a small mismovement of the hand can cause long delays in the metal finishing process. So remember these steps to be the best and most efficient masker you can be, and if you have any questions, please ask your supervisor. Thank you for watching.